Hello. Welcome back to Greg Tech New Horizons. And anyone from episode one, thank you for watching this episode. Today, I'm going to be mostly focused on getting food, uh, cotton, and then going to explore some to find some sand, gravel, possibly more clay, and the gardens from Pam's to eventually get the healing axe. Okay, so currently I'm sitting in the base during a blood moon, organizing and looking through stuff, and now there's a billion mobs. I'm not proud of what happens next, but I will let you see what happens. Yep, that is now death number 3 of the series, and more deaths than I originally wanted. Okay, now I'm going to be trying to get my gravestone and filling in the hole left by the creepers so I can make my base look nice again, because I want to at least attempt to have a nice looking base during all of this, which I know will very quickly fall apart, but we will see. Okay, now I need some gravel for tools, and you can never have too much gravel early on in Greg Tech or even later on in Greg Tech. This is nice size. This is one of the reasons I picked the spawn and to make my base, because there is a lot of gravel around, which will come in handy for when I eventually have to make blast furnaces, more coke ovens, stuff like that. Okay, now I'm flattening out the area before I lock myself in for the night and go through quests and make a bunch more shovels. Okay, all nice and refreshed and about ready to go out and start exploring. Gonna Goal of this is to find sand primarily and to gather as much food sources as humanly possible, because I starve to death quite often. Okay, I'm just exploring through the biomes, and I love these trees. I will be coming back to this biome when I have a lumber axe, because it is going to be very profitable for wood for charcoal. Okay, so I found a nice size sand pit that will be the basic sand for the moment. I will need to go out later this episode to get more sand. For the first couple episodes, you're going to see me worry about food quite often, because you lose hunger so quickly and the foods barely feed you. You will starve to death in a heartbeat. Okay, I bunkered down for the night and just skipped through that for you guys. This is an interesting biome because I love the look of the grass, but it's too much water and I don't think enough humidity. But you never know. I could move bases to close to this forest with all the tall trees, collecting some of the aluminum for later. And I'm collecting as much cotton as I can because it will be useful for making string. Okay, now I'm back and I can organize my chest some, and I believe I'm going to chop down a tree. Yeah, I'm going to chop down the trees so I can start flattening out the area and making it look pretty. Well, as pretty as I can make it with my not wanting to build until I have better tools. Okay, a quick snack before I get back chopping the tree. And it's getting dark, so I'm going to go rest for the night. And now I'm going to finish chopping down this nice tall spruce tree. Which spruce is probably what my base is going to be made out of when I eventually build a starter base, besides a hole in the ground. Spruce with some type of cobblestone or stone brick. I do love the stones with spruce. Okay, now I think I have the resources, but I forget that for the gardens you need 8 of each, not 5 of each. So I store them for later and go back to flattening out the area and removing some of these scrubs and trees. There's going to be a lot of my format's mostly going to be sped up for the moment until we get to when I have great accomplishments where I will then cut in and out between crafts because the microcrafting will get insane and I will save you guys the trouble of watching. Unless you want me to keep this format and just only cut out when I'm sleeping for the night or sitting in a hole because I don't have a bed. Okay, so I'm making the gardens look even, nice 7 by 7 plots. I have 2 plots worth of cotton, and then I'll have an entire plot's worth of soybeans. And then the next plot will be 7 rows besides the middle row, which will be 6 of different crops I'll need for the foods required for the healing axe, which I will probably not get for another couple episodes because I need to go to the nether. Now I'm organized. I That was me. If you missed it, I organized the chest from plant-like to foods, edible foods. Now I'm planning a third plot, which I believe I make this a wheat plot for when I eventually have cows and sheeps, if I ever remember to, because I mostly just kill them around since they keep spawning in. Okay, I'm gonna get out and chop some more trees because you can never have too much wood. And now this is where I start exploring around my area, little home area, to look for ore chunks that I will need in the future. The process of finding the ore chunks isn't entirely interesting, but if you don't know how ore chunks work in Greg Tech New Horizons, you have to go to the center of the chunk. Or let me go back. The ore chunks spawn differently than vanilla. In Greg Tech, it will spawn in massive 3 by 3 areas or veins. And to find which vein you have to go to the center of a chunk and mine down until you find the ore. And once you hit that ore with pickaxe, it will tell you what is in that ore vein. The veins that we're looking for to start, I believe, are cassiterite, anything containing copper, and I'm going to look for some limonite, which will be iron, which will be everything that's needed to get through the Steam Age and into the LVH. There are also a couple ores that we can't find by mining in the overworld, which is, I believe, silver, which you can only obtain in the Twilight Forest, which is somewhere where we will be going later on. If I remember correctly, this ore chunk gives me quite a problem, and I am unable to actually find what ore this one gives me. No, this is the. Yep, there it is. This is the second death of the video, and hopefully the last one. Again, both by creepers. I hate creepers. But this now brings the total death of the series to 4. I hate dying in this. But if you didn't watch the first episode, I do use the journey map teleportation instead of set homes because for some reason, whenever I use the set homes, it just sends me back to world spawn. I will set home and then I will use slash home and it still sends me back to world spawn. I don't know why that is, but if you know, feel free to leave it in the comments. So maybe I can start using that instead if you guys would like. I do not get very lucky this episode in finding the veins I want. I believe I find 3 gold veins, which have very little use at the moment, but will be helpful in the future. So of course, I'm gonna like any vein I find. Nighttime again, and teleport home because I don't want to be stuck outside. Okay, now I'm doing another check, and for some reason, I again forget that it's not 6, it's 8. Now I'm going through some quests, making the pestle and mortars to grind down some gravel or some clay to make clay buckets, which I already have one, which I believe I found in a chest. But now I need multiple because when I get into Tinkers, I'm not going to be able to hold the lava, and I will need to use the buckets, which are one-time use with lava. Now, Greg Tech is an interesting pack. There is a lot of microcrafting, and it is always good to batch craft, which for a while I'm not very great at doing. Okay. Now, this is me getting annoyed not knowing why quests aren't counting. It's because they're crafting quests, and because I found these, it doesn't count. So I now have to recraft each of the Tinker's uh, stations. But I mistakenly make a spruce part builder instead of an oak one. So I'm going to have to go find oak here in a little bit to finally complete the quest. But since I already have these, I decide to just throw them away. And again, you can never have too much food. So if you ever see food, just grab it and munch on it. And now I do my first official harvest of my cotton. This cotton will be very helpful because it will allow me to make string, which next episode I'm going to be making 1 or 2 backpacks. So that way I'll have backpacks. Doing some more organizing and crafting of tools before I go explore again to find, I believe I'm looking for sand. Because the final goal of this episode is going to be to make a coke oven, which will allow me to create charcoal, which then means torches, which I have been missing torches, and only having 1 torch is rough. As you saw, the recipe for brick, or you need a special mold to make this, which requires 3 clay and 5 sand, and it'll get you 3 bricks. Now, because of batch crafting, I go ahead and get 3 stacks of clay, and now I need to go on a hunt for another stack or 2 of sand. Nice chilly exploration. Don't mind the friendly hobgoblins. I do find a nice sand pit for the moment, but eventually I do find a bigger sand pit that I will be using later on. And of course, need to collect as many gardens as I can. Saw that creeper and noped out because I don't need another death on my hands. Okay, as you saw, I found a nice sized sand pit, which I will come back to. And this is where I'm going to be getting my sand for the moment. I mine out this little one, but there is a much, much bigger mountain of sand that I don't notice yet until I mine out the second sand chunk. But in the future, I will be coming back to this area to mine out this mountain of sand. Okay, now I can smelt the coke oven bricks, and like normal stone bricks, it takes 4 coke oven bricks to make a block. Okay, now I'm waiting for a moment for some bricks to craft before I go up and expand my farm some. I'm going through the recipes, seeing if there's anything I'm growing yet or still need to grow. And there's going to be a lot of plants I eventually grow. But once I get the healing axe, I mostly won't worry about food anymore. Okay, I'm going to go through this with you guys instead of speeding it up. The first coke oven that I make, complete the craft, and now I make bricks. Now the structure consists of 26 bricks. Since it's a 3 by 3 by 3 cube with the hollow center, which comes to 26 blocks. Now you see me digging out a nice area that I'm going to put the coke oven in because I am a sucker for shoving multi-block structures in walls like this because it's easier to build around than have them in the center of my base if I'm going for aesthetics. But this will be one of many coke ovens that I make. And here comes the first bit of charcoal I will make. Monumental moment all around. I'm not going to have enough bricks this episode to make a second one, but next episode I will be making another 2 or 3 coke ovens. Now for the remainder of the episode, I'm going to be making another plot, which is going to be for vegetables or like leafy plants that I am not already growing. Again, now there's going to be certain trees that I want to grow, like spruce and jungle. So I'm going to plant a jungle sapling for next time and let that grow. Now, for the rest of this episode, I believe I just go through quests and stare at this. Okay, so thank you for watching, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.